It's week 11 in the NFL. This is the 5th episode of the Smart Gamble. Thanks for joining us here on this weekend. I'm Norm, joined by, of course, Lily and CJ. And Lily, we're again keeping it in the family. We've got 2 more special guests this week. We're keeping it rolling.
Absolutely. My nephews, my oldest, Brandon, and my youngest, Dorian.
All
right.
Welcome, baby boys.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
I know you guys are big fantasy fans, so I'm sure we're gonna jump into that in a little bit here when we do the fantasy segment. But I want to start, guys, Lily and CJ. It's going to be a bit of a theme here because we usually talk about the Thursday game, and we also, of course, talk. Lily just keeps winning nonstop,
Crushing it, baby. Crushing it.
literally hasn't missed a pick yet this season so far.
Nice.
And both of those things are because the Patriots keep on winning.
That is true.
Murdered the Browns last week as Lily took them against the spread against Cleveland, and then they shut out the Falcons on Thursday night. Are the Patriots back?
Yeah, the Empire Strikes Back, man.
Belichick had
Belichick
his hoodie.
with his
Yeah.
rookie quarterback Mac Jones is
Oh, yeah. He's like nurturing him like he did with Tom Brady.
Yeah, and as a long-suffering Jets fan who has always hated the Patriots, I have to tip my hat. The Patriots are legit. So keep betting on the Patriots. You'll win some money.
Yep.
right. And it was at home, and I know CJ, you brought up validly that they hadn't been great at home so far yet this season, but if they can start winning at home and get that home field advantage back as the cold weather starts to come now too. Yeah, I don't think there's many people. I know you guys, long-suffering Jets fans, are not fans of that. Not many people in general are fans of the Patriots, even though Brady's gone. So,
But I give it up to those guys. Those guys, I respect them. They are a great franchise. So, keep putting your money on them. You'll win some money.
right. So, Brandon, Dorian, I heard you guys are big fantasy fans. We're gonna hop into some advice, but do you guys do like season long, daily? What kind of leagues are you guys in?
I mean, the main stuff we do is just yearly redraft leagues. That's kind of our bread and butter. I do DFS sometimes, but I started losing a bunch of money on it, so I stopped doing it.
I'm right there with you.
Those $5 buy-ins add up, and when you don't win anything,
Yep. The season long, it's all about the investment. It's all about the investment in your team and your players and stuff like that. How are you guys doing so far this year?
I mean, I had the first overall pick, and I drafted McCaffrey, so he's been.
Banged up.
So I'm about 500 with that team. So
I'm doing very well. I'm 7-3 in one of my leagues. Jonathan Taylor is an RB1, and I think he'll finish as the RB1 on the season. So
Absolutely. All right, well let's jump into some fantasy talk here, Lily.
Yeah. Let's talk about some defenses to pick up for the playoffs.
Right. It's week 11 now, so you maybe want to start. I don't know about you guys, Brandon, Dorian. Are you big streamers of defenses, or do you like to just go and draft a big one?
oh no, I don't draft my defenses until like the last round, and
Right.
I only keep one defense on my roster at a time. I did pick up the Patriots defense, so they got me 26 points last Thursday. So
Nice.
really don't have to worry about the rest of my team there when your defense gets you as much as a quarterback does.
Yeah.
the Dolphins defense has been very solid. They had 17 against Baltimore, and then they had 18 the week before that. So, and now they're playing the Jets. I think that's a good matchup for them.
Dorian's stealing my thunder because I'm going to talk about I'm a big streamer of defenses too. And so maybe you want to stash someone before we get to the playoffs so that you already have them. You don't have to waste a waiver wire pick maybe on your defense before the playoffs start.
Yeah.
Dorian, you nailed it. The Dolphins playing the Jets this week. They've been pretty good actually defensively in the last few weeks, putting up some big points. And they have a playoff matchup, fantasy playoff matchup against the Jets in week 15. That's going to be a nice week, a round 1 playoff matchup against the Jets.
Definitely.
I mean the Dolphins, you could stream them right now. They're playing a lot of really bad teams coming up, like the Giants and the Panthers, just really bad offenses. And Brian Flores is a very smart defensive coach. So,
Coming from that Bill Belichick coaching.
from that Bill Belichick system. So He's one of the smartest coaches in football. You know, he hasn't been very lucky with the Dolphins, but he's a good coach, very good
Right.
defensive
They need
coach.
to figure out that quarterback situation and offense. Another defense I want to throw out that might be worth stashing for playoff matchups at least, or at least keep an eye on over the next few weeks. You mentioned you want to play, the Giants and maybe the Washington football team because the
Yeah.
NFC East
Oh yeah.
dumpster fire right now. How about the Packers defense for the 3 weeks of the fantasy playoffs? If you're in a league that doesn't play the last week of the season as you should be, they play Washington, New York, Washington back to back. So that's a defense that Packers defense isn't exactly known right now as a big points defense right now, but matchup wise, I don't think you can do much better than that.
I mean, they might be matchup proof considering that they've shut out like Kyler Murray,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. They've done well against all those guys. So you put them against Taylor Heineke, you better watch out.
Right.
Okay, so Norm, who are some sneaky starts this week?
We're going to keep, I don't know why we're going to be talking to the Dolphins so much right now, but as we mentioned, Dolphins are also playing the Jets this week. And someone's finally emerged, as he did last year in that backfield in Miami. Myles Gaskin he was a big name in fantasy at the end of last season. This dude's kind of feel like sneaking under the radar. Play him this week against the Jets. I think he's going to have a great game. They're going to get up. They're going to run the ball. And he's been having some great weeks recently. I definitely want to start Myles Gaskin if you have him or if you can in a daily fantasy. I think he's worth his value. Another guy, if he's available, if you got him, Amari Cooper is out for Dallas. This is a dude I've been on for a while now. Michael Gallup, he's talented. He just hasn't been able to find his way in that offense. Dak Prescott's finally back. Against the Chiefs, it's been a running theme here on this show when it comes to my fantasy advice. Play against the Chiefs defenses. Michael Gallup's going to have a big week this week.
Okay, so who are some players to avoid this week, Norm?
I love Justin Herbert. He might be one of my favorite young quarterbacks in the league this year. If you've got another option, though, decent option if you're in a season long as your backup, I might avoid playing Justin Herbert against the Steelers defense because TJ Watt, I know he's banged up. He's questionable coming into the game on Sunday. I'm not sure if he's going to play, but that Steelers defense does not give up points to quarterbacks. So I would watch out playing Justin Herbert if you have another option, or I would not play him in daily fantasy. Don't think the value's there for that week. And another guy, usually high on him, out of the two running backs in that backfield you could have drafted in season longs. I went with Zach Moss in Buffalo over Devin Singletary. I don't know if I'd be playing him this week against the Colts. He's been kind of touchdown reliant to get the big points this year, and the Colts defense has been pretty stingy. I don't love the matchup if you're a Zach Moss owner against the Indianapolis defense.
What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Norm said about Zach Moss. The Bills' offense has been kind of streaky lately.
Yeah.
They were red hot for a few games, and they're starting to cool off. Had one big game against the Jets. Maybe that was their get right game.
Right.
But we really don't have enough information as to who's going to get targets now, because Stephon Diggs is starting to get his command of the targets again. And that means less targets for Zach Moss and Singletary. And with Matt Breida and they're all splitting time, we really don't know what their roles are going to be moving forward. So I would just kind of steer clear of them for the time being.
Good points.
Absolutely. If you
Nice.
want
Great
any
points.
more advice, fantasy wise, gambling wise, you want to get more of Lily's picks, because why wouldn't you? All she does is hit winners. smartgamble@gmail.com. You can send us an email. That's how you'll reach out for the movie question, which will be coming up very shortly as well. But Lily, let's jump into some power rankings.
Okay, first of all, I want to talk about quarterbacks first.
Okay.
Okay, so remember I said blow me Michael Irvin last week because he's always talking about Dak Prescott? Well,
Right.
this week he's number one. He's rated number one this week, so I can't say blow me Michael Irvin this week.
Well, again, that's playing that Chiefs defense. That's gonna be a matchup that you want to see.
Right. And my nephews know me. you know, how I talk all the time. Doesn't bother them, doesn't phase them.
Yeah.
Right? Crazy Aunt Lily, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the power rankings now, the teams. Green Bay is number 1, previously number 4.
Wow, they made the jump to 1.
Mm.
And look at the Tennessee Titans at 2, previously number 3.
Yep.
Dallas is 3, previously 5. Arizona is 4, previously 1.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's where the drop came.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
The Bills are 5, previously 8. Tampa Bay is 6, previously 2. Kansas City is 7, previously 12. New England is 8, previously 11.
They might be jumping up even more now.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
they will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they definitely will.
The Rams are number 9, previously 7. And Baltimore is number 10, previously 6. And there's
Interesting.
3 teams that haven't moved at all. The Browns. No, that's wrong.
I was saying
Sorry.
Browns probably dropped out.
I was like, yeah, I think
Yes.
they'll probably do.
Oh, Cincinnati was 16. They're still 16.
Mm.
And of course, Houston, 32, still 32.
Yeah. When you add, you
Wait,
add.
no, because
Yeah,
we
they're not gonna
haven't
move
really talked about the bottom of the power rankings much. They had Houston at 32, really. Above, excuse me, behind the Lions.
Yes.
I mean, the Lions.
The
Yeah.
Lions are at 30. The Jets are at 31.
I mean, the Lions play teams tough, you know.
They actually have been in a lot of close games, and obviously they
Yeah.
tied the Steelers, which
Aren't
Yeah,
they
they
like?
do cover. They do cover
Yeah.
a lot.
That's what I was about to say, CJ. They're like, aren't they like 500 against the spread?
Yes, they are.
They play teams very tough. I know they haven't won anything yet, but I'd probably say they're better than Houston and New York.
Right, if they were-
even the
if they were-
Jags.
if they were to get on the field and play each other, yeah.
Yeah, and let me call out 2 teams, Baltimore and the Rams. I think those are 9 and 10. I'm
Yep.
not quite sure which order. Those teams were near the top of the rankings a couple of weeks ago. They are in quicksand, and I'm not quite sure what's going on in Baltimore. They have some problems, and the Rams, for some reason, looked really horrible the past couple of weeks. So they've got to figure something out.
Right, yeah, Rams making all those trades and it hasn't shown yet. Now, obviously well, we were going to talk about some playoff teams and, teams that we might think make some runs or maybe teams that are on the outside looking in. I mean, do you trust the Rams to get it right by the playoffs? Because that's all they care about. They were in the Super Bowl a few years ago and they just need to get over that hump and win it. I think we all think that they're going to make the playoffs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I do.
The NFC is a dumpster fire. Of course, they're going to make it.
Yeah, but the one thing I saw that Rams Niners game last week, and again, the Rams have those really, really big pass rushing defensive guys,
Yep.
but the Niners ran it down their throats. I don't know how good they are against the run. So if you have teams like the Niners and other teams that run the ball very well, the Rams can be had. So
Yeah.
they've got to figure out a way to stop the run if they're going to do anything in the playoffs.
So that's one of the teams I wanted to bring up too. Lily, do you have where the 49ers are ranked?
Yeah.
Because that's a team that right now, playoff-wise, if the playoffs started today, would be on the outside looking in.
Correct.
They're
Yeah.
17, previously 24.
Okay, so that obviously that win moved them up a bit.
Yeah.
Do we think the 49ers can make the playoffs?
I doubt it.
I mean,
I think so.
Kittle came
I
back.
think
He's
so.
been a monster.
Mm.
Right. They need to get healthy, obviously, with Garoppolo, if you think he should be the starting quarterback, getting healthy, and obviously Kittle coming back. I love that defense, and if they can, again,
They're
find a
hurt
healthy
too.
running back too, it's the offense needs to get going.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is the offense has gotten stale because Jimmy Garoppolo is very limited as a quarterback. He can't run very well, and he doesn't have the biggest arm. And with Trey Lance, he's not ready yet. So,
No.
I find it really hard to find any kind of outcome where they start winning a few games because
Especially in that
know,
division.
all they can do is run the ball. So they're very one-dimensional offense. And their defense is still banged up. So
Yep.
they'll have their performances, but I don't think they're going to find enough consistency in time to make the playoffs. They could because the NFC is very top-heavy. So we might have
Have
like
that extra playoff spot
yeah,
again.
we might
That's
have a
true.
7 and 10 team make the 7th spot.
Right.
And that could be one of them, just because they are one of the better teams in the conference. They just been unlucky to start the year.
Right.
Right. I just say that as a giddy Debo Samuel owner as well. I think
Oh
he's
yeah, God,
phenomenal talent.
I got burned so bad by drafting Brandon Ayuk, man.
I drafted Trey Sermon. See if
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I'm right
goodness.
there with you on the running back
Oh,
there.
boy.
Sermon's been
I have Mitchell. And he's been good.
Sermon's a guy that's like, I'm still in a keeper league. I'm still holding on.
Yeah,
I'm still holding
same.
out hope here. AFC wise, is there a team on the outside looking in that anyone thinks could maybe? I think the Bengals.
Yes.
If you've been watching the show each week, I've been very high on the Bengals. I'm waiting
Me
for
too.
them to pull out of that in that division where I think they can maybe even win that division because we're talking about the Ravens. I don't know.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
Ravens.
think-
Go ahead,
I'm
CJ.
sorry. Yeah, I think that entire NFC North division is kind of a riddle enigma. And so if you have 4 teams who really have playoff talent on those rosters, so it's really
Yeah.
gonna be a matter of a battle of attrition, really, between Cleveland, Cincinnati, to Pittsburgh. I still think Baltimore is a class at division, but they've got to still figure out some things to get back to where they were before. But all 4 of those teams have a legitimate shot at making the playoffs, no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely.
Totally
Yeah,
agree.
team I like on the outside looking in. I really like the Raiders. Yeah, I think with all the controversy that they've had going on, it seems like they're kind of rallying around each other
Right.
and are still pulling out some wins. Their play calling is their offensive coordinator that they promoted is a much better play caller than John Gruden. He's not stuck in 1998.
Too wide banana.
I feel like everything, especially with the emails that came out, John Gruden still thinks it's 1998. But yeah, I love Derek Carr. You know, you've seen their offense has really come to life. Their defense is holding up well enough. I think they have enough where they can rally around each other, get some big wins, and get a wild card spot.
There's no denying it's a talented roster. I mean, you can say what you want about Derek Carr, whether he's like a top guy that you think can win a Super Bowl for you. I don't know if I'm sold on that yet, but he's at least, above average. He's a top like 15 quarterback at least. Darren Waller, yeah, I completely agree with you. They've got the talent to do it, just whether they can come together cohesively. And I guess with the Gruden out, they have.
Yeah. Out here in Vegas, it's kind
Right.
of a mixed bag as far as how the fans and media views this team. Talent-wise, there's no question they have it. Waller, you mentioned, is an excellent tight end. I think they're just a little bit too mistake-prone. They have to figure out a way to get rid of the mistakes, stupid penalties,
Right.
and
been
inopportune turnovers.
That's been the Raiders thing though for like 45 years now.
True.
So-
Always the most penalized team in the league. So
Literally.
They always lead in every.
Lily, what do you have now? Let's jump into the daddy of the week.
Okay, who's my daddy? I got 2 daddies this week. You ready?
All right.
Daddies.
The first one was a shit-ass player one week, who was Patrick Mahomes.
There you
He's-
go.
He was my daddy of the week. Let me get the stats here. Put the glasses on.
Okay.
There's a lot of them.
He threw 35 for 50 completions, which is 70%. He had 5 touchdowns. He targeted 9 different receivers. That's amazing.
Love that Chiefs offense.
Unbelievable. Okay. My second daddy of the week is Ramondre Stevenson from the Patriots, the rookie running back from Oklahoma. 100 yards on 20 carries and 2 touchdowns. He did fabulously.
Right.
Yeah, he's-
Belichick comes out and says Damon Harris is our guy. So that's fantasy wise. I don't know if Harris is healthy, which it looks like he's going to be. That's a
Yeah,
tricky-
to your point, Norm, I actually had an injury. My Aaron Jones was injured for Green Bay, and I thought about picking up Ramondre Stevenson and so forth. But again, how many touches is he going to get with Damian Harris back? So I didn't
New
touch
England
him.
backfield is never. It's the most impossible thing to pick to decipher
Yeah,
every single year.
You cannot predict. It's really impossible to predict the Patriots running back. They have 3 different guys that they like to use. They use Harris between the 20s. They use Stevenson on the goal line. and then they put in J.J. Taylor and Brandon
Taylor,
Bowen
Brandon
for
Bowen.
passing downs.
Mhm.
So they use 4 running backs, and they all get touches. I think so it's really impossible to predict, who's going to be the top guy every week, because it might be a different guy scoring the touchdowns every week.
Yep.
It's not like James Conner where they just get down to the 1 yard line and just hand him the ball.
Right.
Exactly.
He gets a free touchdown.
Yep. All right. So what do we have for the shit ass player of the week, Lily?
Okay, shit ass player of the week, Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh,
Ooh.
You know why? Did you see him just freaking stand there?
Yes.
as the
on
guy
that
ran
fumble.
past him with the ball?
Embarrassing.
What the hell?
embarrassing.
Now here's the thing.
That was ridiculous.
I know there are some quarterbacks that have probably been told by their coaches, if you throw a pick or if there's a fumble, they can go down and score. 7 points is a hell of a lot less worthless than you being injured for the rest of the season. I've heard coaches and quarterbacks bring that up.
Yeah, and
But then
since
Vic
Teddy-
Fangio came out after the game and was like, dude, what the hell were you doing?
Right. And
I
he
mean-
just rationalized it away, right?
Right.
Teddy?
I mean, Teddy's made of glass. I think he made the right call on that.
And that's why I bring that up. It's the dude that's literally had that happen. I mean, practice, froze his
I
knee
mean-
out, missed 2 years. So
Yeah, he'd probably get injured on the walking up incline to practice. I don't see. Yeah, he's got 90-year-old knees. I don't want him tackling anybody.
business
my
decisions
quarterback.
were made for sure by Teddy Bridgewater. That's a good shit ass player of the week there, Lily. All right, well, let's jump into some picks. And where's the star of the show? He made the appearance last week. What's for Hayden? What?
No, he's indisposed this week. My cat, Hayden, he's indisposed. However, he has 2 picks.
2 picks.
2
Uh-oh.
picks this week.
Hayden's
He
getting greedy.
has, you ready for this? He has Minnesota and
Over Green Bay?
Washington. Minnesota and Washington.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I might have a little
Really-
issue with Mr. Hayden there.
Right,
Picks, but, we'll have a little talk with that cat there.
he's picking against the Panthers as well. Picking against his feline brethren.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right?
That's not a good thing.
We'll see what happens.
All
Hey,
right.
Cats ain't afraid of anything.
But my lock of the week, you guys ready? The Colts. The Colts to cover against Buffalo.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about that game as well. Again, I think the Colts can cover. The Colts are playing very well these days, especially that running game. So Buffalo lately has been on a bit of a roll, but they've been beating some bad teams. So this is going to be a test for Buffalo's defense. So I think that the Colts have a chance to cover that 7.5, I believe.
Yeah, and Indianapolis is 15 now, previously 18 power ranked.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Yeah, they
that would
figured
have
some
been
things
my
out.
stowaway game, to be honest.
I always try to give a pick where everybody's like kind of floored by it.
And
You
it's
know-
worked out so far.
That's how you win
Absolutely.
money.
Yeah.
That's how you win money. Go
Absolutely.
against the grain.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
CJ,
yeah.
I know you mentioned you got a little bone to pick with Hayden. What do you have for your pick of the week?
Yeah.
I like Carolina. Cam Newton is coming back to the city he ruled for about 8 years. He had a pretty good
He
showing
yelled
last
everyone,
week.
he's back.
He's back. He's going to get the starting reps. So, and I think that he's playing against his old coach on the other sideline. So a little bit of a revenge there. I think that this is the first game back in playing in Carolina this year for him. So he's got a lot to play for. I think Carolina gets it easy win, actually. Washington had previously lost 4 straight games. And then they won last week against Tampa, which is a big win for them. But I think they go back to their losing ways. I think Carolina wins.
All right. I like it. So we'll have a little head-to-head matchup between CJ and Hayden. You guys make a bet on that one.
Yeah.
Lily, what was we had our winner Joe from Bangor there winning. Obviously, last week's was fairly easy, right?
You guys have to know this line from a movie. Fat guy in a little coat. Do you know that?
Oh, are you talking about last week's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I think I remember. I don't know what movie it's from, but I definitely remember seeing that somewhere.
This is what I'm talking about. Everyone knows that quote, but what movie is it from?
It's from Tommy Boy.
Ah,
Chris
okay.
Farley.
Chris Farley, rest in peace.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that
Yep.
does make a lot of sense.
Okay, so this week's movie quote is, he's carrying that thing like a loaf of bread.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Context clues.
I
get
try
that.
Podcast.
I try to
thought about
do
that one.
movies and lines where you might be able to guess the movie, even if you haven't seen it.
Gotta think,
So that-
gotta think
that's-
of the
that's
very
definitely a
famous
line.
voice saying that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of the very, you can hear the voice, maybe.
yeah.
All right. So we have, of course, Lily made her pick of the week. Getting lucky with Lily is taking the Colts.
Yeah.
That's a bold pick. Picking against. You know what though? I'll give you this, Lily. You are not afraid to pick against good teams.
Nope.
And 5-5 so far in the season. So I think it seems to be working out so far.
Yep. I'm a
Definitely.
big girl. I make big girl picks.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Anyone else have any more picks or anything like that before we start wrapping it up here?
I think I'd like to maybe give a thing that I would like to stay away from. I think
Right.
that
Oh, right.
Arizona, Seattle, there are too many uncertainties in that game. Kyler Murray is playing on a bum ankle. He's not quite sure. I think they'll know at game time. DeAndre Hopkins has been ruled out.
Yeah.
And on the Seattle side, Russell Wilson is still a bit rusty. He didn't look very good last week.
No.
And they've got some issues with the running game, actually, as well as the passing game. I think that
Chris Carson's out this season.
Carson's out for the
Carson's
season.
out. It seems like DK Metcalf is never happy with the amount of balls that are thrown his way.
Yeah,
Right, Russell Wilson, they're always doing something on the sideline, arguing and so forth. They're a bit of a mess. That was one team that was like the cream of the crop a couple of years ago in the NFL, and now they've got some issues. So I would stay away from that game mainly because of the uncertainties.
Yeah, and Arizona's 5-0 on the road, by the way.
Mm,
Wow.
That just adds something else, right?
Good
Wow,
stat.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems like a trap. So Dorian and I are personally Seahawks fans.
Yeah.
mm.
So
Of
we
course.
know, we know that CJ is correct when he says stay away from this game because this game's going to be a slugfest. Russell Wilson, he can't make a fist. I don't even know why he's still playing. Can't make a fist. You see him? He's flipping off everybody. He's like this. His hands, when his hands are at his side, it's like this. When he tries to make a fist, he can't even make a full fist yet, and he's trying to throw footballs. I thought he was trying to throw left-handed during practices.
That's the Carson
Like-
Wentz thing. That's what Carson
Yeah.
Wentz does.
Oh, yes.
Starts throwing
Yeah.
the left-handed passes.
Yeah, so yeah, this game's going to be a slugfest, just like the Green Bay game was. The Seahawks are probably going to be in turmoil until either Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson leaves. You have a quarterback who's so talented, might be the most talented quarterback in the league, and you want to run the ball 30 times a game, and you got one of the worst defenses, and Pete Carroll's brand is running the ball and playing defense.
Right.
So, kind of what is he worth if he can't even produce that anymore?
I don't know, being out here on the East Coast, you don't know too many Seahawks fans, and you brought it up. I wanted to real quick before we wrap it up. What do you think of that Russell Wilson situation? Is he going to be the quarterback of the Seahawks next year?
I really don't think so, unless Pete Carroll is fired. I feel like one of them
or the other.
is going to leave by next year. One of them will be
Wow.
gone. It'll either be Russell or Pete Carroll. I doubt they both stay.
Because everyone talked about the Rodgers Green Bay drama this past offseason.
Yeah, but
There was so
Rodgers
much-
is always dramatic. There's always something. It's either who he's dating or what he said.
what show he's hosting.
Yeah, what show he's on, who he wants the team to draft. There's always, but the bare minimum, they make it to the conference championship game no matter what happens if he's healthy. No matter every year. So
And now they're number one in the power ranking.
and now their defense is playing well. I don't see any team that's going to stop them from making the Super Bowl this year.
Right. Green Bay is
I
definitely.
mean, I would like to see Green Bay and Tennessee in the Super Bowl.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd love to see Buffalo come out. I feel like Buffalo.
Yeah.
My current matchup is Buffalo Green Bay with how everything's going right now.
I'll say that I think I think we're due for a very different Super Bowl this year. We've had a lot of like repeat
Yes.
teams in the
Enough,
last like
enough of the Brady.
right, yeah. I guess the
Man.
Buccaneers were a new team, but it felt like it was the old team because Brady was in the Super Bowl again. But
Right.
you know, obviously the Chiefs making it a couple of years in a row. I feel like we're due for a weird kind of matchup. Maybe the
Yeah,
Cardinals.
A lot of volatility this year.
Wide open.
Maybe.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
actually, it's funny. One more thing before we leave here. I was wondering if anybody had any thoughts on the Eagles Saints game. This is this show is
That's
kind of
my
like
stay away game of the week. That's my
Yes.
stay away game.
I
do
figured
not
the
wanna
show had
pick
some
that
close
game.
ties to the Philadelphia market here. I just wondering if you guys had any thoughts about the Saints Eagles this week.
Right. Yeah. No, Saints. I mean, you can't figure that team out. They lose their quarterback and like Sean Payton, sneaky. You know, we do coaches of the week, coaches of the year, candidates last year. But that guy, you give him any sort of clay, he's gonna mold into a decent offense. Apparently.
Yeah, give him anybody with a pulse, he can make it to a successful offense.
Right.
That guy's one of the geniuses of the game. I'm not sure if Kamara is going to play or not.
Yeah.
So that's a big factor in that game.
Yeah, I'm hearing that he's
Kamara
out.
What?
My sources tell me that he's out.
Oh,
This week.
okay. So he's out. Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, I'm not sure what the exact line is, but I would be leaning towards Philly. But I would stay away. The game's going to be a slugfest.
Yeah. In our pool, it's
not going to
1.5.
be a lot of points.
Yeah,
What?
1.5 points.
One and a half.
In our pool, yeah.
Philly.
Yeah, Philadelphia is a great running team. The Saints are the best run defense team in the league.
Right.
They've only given up like 2 rushes of 100 yards over the past 70 games. And by the way, both of those rushes came last year. It was the Eagles. It was Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders in the same game, got
Wow.
100 yards as the only 2 players in the past 70 games that Saints have allowed 100-yard rushes.
Wow.
So that's going to be a really, really interesting game. Strength against strength, running prowess on the offense of Philly, run defense for the Saints. That should be a really, really good game.
Now Eagles also winless at home so far, and that game's at the Link. So lot. Yeah, that's everything we
consider.
just said. Scream, stay away.
Exactly.
Scream, stay away. All right. Well, if you want any more picks, fantasy advice, obviously, if you want to get your entry in there for the movie quote of the week, thesmartgamble@gmail.com is how you can reach any of us here on the show. Of course, like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're watching or listening. We always appreciate it. We will be back next week after Thanksgiving. So I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. Enjoy the food, enjoy the great football as well. And we will talk to you next week for week 12 here from the Smart Gamble. For Lily, for
Yep.
CJ. For
I can't
Brandon,
wait
for
to see
Dorian.
my baby boys for Thanksgiving.
All
Right.
right.
All in the family. For Brandon and Dorian, thanks again for joining us, guys.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. And we
Love
will
you
talk to
guys.
next week.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Take care.
Yeah, no problem.